This is a quick video on the top 9 tips for selling commercial cleaning accounts door to door. And this can apply to commercial cleaning, janitorial, any of the specialty cleaning subjects like carpet cleaning or tile cleaning. The concept would still stay the same either way. And in this presentation, we're just going to go over some of the top strategies to sell door to door. And I understand that for younger people, especially people under 30, they're probably thinking, door to door is outdated. That's kind of old school. But door to door selling is actually still one of the best ways to sell cleaning services. And one of them is there's just no competition. Very, very, very few cleaning businesses will do this on a regular basis. And in marketing, one of the biggest things we want to do is we want to stand out. We want attention. So if we can grab a space and nobody's in it, that's a good reason to do it. So the first one is, does the business deal with the general public? And that would be like restaurants, retail, medical. There's a lot of different businesses, insurance companies. They deal with the general public. And that's one thing to consider, because if they're dealing with the general public, people are coming in on a regular basis, including salespeople. Restaurants are used to salespeople coming in all day, every day, and stopping by. Well, some of the private offices, they're not used to that, so they're not always as open. And often the receptionist will just say, "Do you have an appointment?" So that's one thing to consider: is are they used to stop-in traffic? And the next one, the size of the building or the size of the business. And the reason why that's important is that smaller businesses, we can talk with a decision maker. If it's a 10 employee business type of business, small local business, you have direct access with that decision maker. And just like some of the others, like retail, even hotels, their decision makers are accessible by the public. People can stop by and talk to them. Now, when you start talking about larger businesses, 50, 100 employee company, well, that manager, whoever he is or she is buried somewhere in the building. And the first thing the receptionist is going to ask is, "Do you have an appointment?" And then you end up having to go back to the phone and set an appointment. So that's why the size of the business can also matter, or the size of the building. It's kind of interchangeable. Security doors. Security doors can be a big problem also, or a call box. And nothing is more awkward, especially if the weather's not that great. You're standing outside and you're trying to talk through one of those call boxes, and you're saying, "This is Shane with XYZ carpet cleaning or cleaning service," and you can barely hear them half the time. And they're going to say, "We're not interested," and shoo you away, because you're not even actually speaking to somebody face to face. So that becomes a big deterrent. And personally, I would try to avoid anything where they have security. Security will rarely give you any kind of information. At least when you speak with a receptionist face to face, or some kind of a greeter, you can at least solicit some information from them. But security is not going to tell you anything, except go away. That's about the only thing security is going to tell you. Dress for success. This is really important for cold calling. And one of the things to remember is people do judge us, and especially strangers. And we're cold calling. They don't know us. So when we are standing in front of them, they're going to make a decision about us in a couple of seconds. And if we're kind of sloppy looking, then they might just shoo us away. If we're professional looking, and I know different parts of the country, especially in the South, it's really hot. So the dress code might be slightly different than it would be in the Midwest or the North. But a shirt and tie, a suit would be great, but even a shirt and tie with some nice shoes will go a long way to getting to that next part. Visual aids. Visual aids are great, and I personally like sell sheets, and this is why I like sell sheets. A sell sheet is top to bottom. So when you're standing there in front of somebody trying to explain something, when you can show them a picture of some kind, you can zip right through this top to bottom and explain it in 5 or 10 seconds. Where if you have a trifold brochure, those were kind of made for the print industry for mailing. That's why they're folded up like that. That can be really clumsy when you're standing in front of somebody. So that's why I personally like sell sheets. And it's just easier to explain something and to see a picture. The other reason is you can leave it behind. Often you can leave behind, if the person's not available, they might keep it in their desk or in a folder or something for months, and even years later people pull this stuff out and say, oh, you left your business card or you left your brochure or whatever a year ago, and then they call you. I know it probably sounds funny, but people do it all the time. They keep stuff. Listening skills. Listening skills are hard, but it's one of the most important topic to remember, especially with cold calling, is to we want to get our information out. We want to get our point across, but it's more important for us in sales to ask questions, let the other person finish, even if there's a pause. They might have to think about something for a second. And the reason why this is so important and it's so fundamental is we can't read somebody, or we can't read their body language, their facial expressions, until we can stand back and take in the whole situation. We also can't give answers to solutions until we listen to what that other person has to say. And ultimately what we want to do is try to fit that solution in with their personality type, and B, does it solve their business problem? See, there's always two parts with selling. Is we're trying to find the right information to that personality type, but also we want to solve the business problem. Because some people want to see videos, some people want to see demos, some people are very analytical. They want a fact sheet of some kind, and that's fine. As a salesperson, we want to fit the right information with the right person, and that's the point of doing it. The next one is objective. What is the primary objective? And I know when you first think about this, you say, to get a sale, of course. But on a cold call, our primary objective is to collect information. We want to find out who is the decision maker and what is their current cleaning situation, because then we can make a move off of that information. If you go in too fast and furious, people will blow you off, and then once they don't like you for whatever reason, often you'll never get another chance again. It's a lot easier on you from a stress standpoint, and you'll get a lot more relaxed if you just take this objective and that, hey, I'm just out here to introduce myself, collect information about your situation. Because if you find out that, well, the owner's brother-in-law has been cleaning the building for the last 20 years, well, I would make them unqualified, because the chances of them changing in that situation is 0 and none. It can happen, and maybe you want to stop back once a year or something to check, but that's why it's important. We don't want to be chasing people and wasting their time and ours, which brings us to the next topic of qualifying leads. And everybody has a different definition of what's a qualified lead. There's a lot of different ways to do this. It can be size of the building, the type. If you don't like hiring people for late at night, maybe you would skip retail and restaurants. There's all kinds of reasons to qualify. Everybody's not going to be a good fit for us, and that's why we want to determine ahead of time, what determines qualified, and what kind of services. Are we a premium service, or are prices in the middle? Are they on the lower end? And these are some of the questions to ask about qualifying people, because again, we don't want to waste their time, and we don't want to waste our time. We want to focus on the top 500 to 1,000 qualified prospects, and we want to stay in front of them. We don't want to try to reach 10, 40, 100,000 businesses. We really want to focus on the top prospects for our specific situation. And the final one is the follow-up, or what we would call a workflow. After deciding that somebody's qualified and you get the information on who the decision maker is, the next question is, well, how am I going to stay in front of this person long term? And sometimes they'll just come right out and tell you, I don't like email, I don't go on social media. If you can't, you might just have to try a couple different things. But we want to stay in front of them, especially in the areas of the country where the weather's not that great always, like up here up north. A lot of times I would switch to the phone once I know who it is, because then I can do follow-up phone calls. So I go and I meet Bob or Steve or Judy, and I get their business card, and then a month later I follow up. Then maybe an email a month later. Then maybe direct mail. Connect with them on social media. We want to create a workflow where over the next couple of years, at least on a yearly basis, we can stay in front of them 6, 7, 8 times, depending how aggressive you want to get. And this is the end of the presentation. If you need any marketing and sales downloads, you can go to our website, methodcleanbiz.com. We have a free download section with dozens of different topics, from scripts. This is all about account-based marketing. And if you want to learn more about account-based marketing in general, visit our website. It is methodcleanbiz.com, and here you can we have tons of resources, calculators, downloads, and examples of account-based marketing.